So my point about IDs is that they are the best element to use for identifying your object. Now let's go ahead and actually transition that to C# and Selenium WebDriver. So if you guys go to my code to NUnit Light Palm Framework tutorial, and then what you can do is, if you have a GitHub account, you can obviously clone. If you don't, you can just download the zip file. Download the zip file, extract the code, and you'll be able to follow along in this tutorial. So that's what I have here in the Solution Explorer under Element Identification Test in QTP Tests project. You guys can see here I have a bunch of element identifiers that we're going to go through for Selenium WebDriver, because that's our ultimate goal, right, is to master this thing. So if we want to find an element using an ID, we need to do this. So I'm going to do Control-KU to uncomment, and we can run this test. Now, here on top in the test, I set up a static driver that's going to open up Chrome for us, a element called element, and then a locator, which are used further below. So the first step that we do in our test is we go to a URL, which is our web page, and then we find the element using that ID, and then we click on it. And then the other thing that we need to do is go back, because once we click on the element, we want to go back to that element. So we'll actually debug through this so that you guys can see what's happening. So I'm going to go ahead, click here, and then do debug, and then it's going to run up to this point. So I get my unit test runner here. Let me pin it. Here comes Chrome. I'm going to put it on the side, and then my Visual Studio on the left side. Now this page opened. This line right here uses the driver that we created up here on top. It's a static one, so we don't need to recreate it again. It has a find element method using a locator called ID. And which button do we want to click on? Well, let's take a look at our Firefox. I'm actually clicking on this button here. So if I select it, its ID is example. And you guys can actually see here in the HTML, remember what we learned? Here is the property and here's its value. And that's exactly what we want. We're using this ID and its value is ID example. And so I just put that in here. And then if we're successful, it should click on that button. So I'm going to go ahead and step over this. Now we have this element stored in a variable. And you guys can see all the information about it in here. Something like even a text, no text. And then we can step over this, and it's going to perform a click action. And look at that. You guys see that? It clicked on it on button success. And it was successful at clicking. And now this action here is going to take us back. Step over, and that's going to use the browser to take us back. Fantastic. I'm going to stop that.